Efendim aslında yani dönüyoruz, dolaşıyoruz, lafı aynı yere getiriyormuş hissi mi yaratıyoruz bilmiyorum ama hakikaten o kadar mühim mevzu ki yani. Hani yazılım hızlı, güvenlik yavaş, biri diğerinin hızını kesiyor, öbürü diğer falan gibi bir klişenin etrafında dolaşmıyoruz. Bir gerçeğin yarattığı etkileri araştırıyoruz ve onu olumlu tahlillerle, çözümlerle çözmeye çalışıyoruz. İşte yine buna benzer bir mevzu var. DevOps hızında güvenlik başlığımız. Bir panel bu. Panelde konuşmacılar yani biz bu hıza uygun güvenliği nasıl sağlayacağız ve her iki unsuru aynı hızda ve ahenkte nasıl çalıştıracağızı konuşacaklar. Sevgili Gökhan Say yine moderatör. Efendim katılımcılar kimler? Alejandro Gamboa Sonatype'dan, Melih Kırkgöz Fortinet'ten, Murat Sümergen F5'ten, Vedat Tüfekçi Networks'ten.
Hey guys, thank you. Welcome to WeShields DevSecOps. It is a very important topic and thank you for accepting my invitation. I call you my Avengers because you are coming together and solving a big problem out there. It is one of the most important topics, I believe, in terms of security, because it is not only touching the security side, but mostly to business sides in this new normal, in this online world. Thank you for coming once again. So let me not lose any time, as this is a very important topic, and start my questions. Please, this is an open question to you all. We have so many challenges and problems. Our organizations are facing so many problems and challenges regarding secure development today. What do you think they are, guys? I mean, why can't we build secure software?
If you want, I'll start. So for me, the big challenges that organizations are having, you could categorize them in very big aspects, but for me, the human aspect is probably one of the biggest or weakest links of the chain. You know, there is a lot of misunderstanding or bad education of how applications are actually built, and therefore, as most of the senior leadership teams do not understand how an application has been built, they cannot implement security strategies around it. Another aspect is that that is human aspect, is that there is a lot of miscommunication between the security teams and the development teams. They speak different languages. The security teams typically talk like in CVSS scores or CVE scores. They talk a different language that the development team does not understand, does not appreciate. And they're also measured in different ways. You know? So security team is measured in avoiding breaches, or how do you react based on a breach. But the DevOps teams are measured on how fast they develop a new feature. You know? So the lack of communication, lack of education, for me, are critical aspects of this application security. And finally, the tools that are being used. There are many tools out there in the marketplace that are actually slowing down the development process when you start implementing security in it instead of speeding it up. You know? So those are, for me, are some of the biggest challenges that you will have or are having most of the companies to be able to develop a secure application.
A lot to cover, man. So it is not like only human, but also we are having our problems technology-wise. You said integration, yeah, this is technology. You said language, yes, human. Yeah. You said KPIs, success factors, criterias, again, human. Many problems and challenges. Anyone else to I don't.
I can maybe continue, Gökhan, if I may. So just maybe adding, so those challenges are the same mainly, but the world is challenging itself and very competitive, and the companies need more digitalization and agility to speed up their processes, and they need some flexibility to scaling up or sometimes scaling down. And so new services and application can be developed quickly and also with cost benefits. So also customers, they want easily deploy those applications in different infrastructures. So they want to deploy those applications in sometimes private cloud, sometimes in public cloud, sometimes in multi-cloud or hybrid cloud applications. So they really want to have a unique solution to be applicable for all these applications. So that's why we see so much containerization in the world on the app development side. And we see it almost in every vertical, not specifically one vertical. Even we have some customers in the government. So they're really in this challenge. And also, according to the same, there are many tools, not automated, not integrated. So that also creates another challenges for all cloud stack deployments. The people, I agree also. So people is also another issue from the security side, from DevOps side. But we see that when you approach those guys as well, so when you really show the solution, so we see that they can talk to each other.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I mean, the new technologies are bringing flexibility, more goodness, more advantages, but they're always coming with their security problems. The infrastructures are changing so fast, and look at the containers. They were not in our life just maybe 5 years ago, and they became a standard today, and it is growing more and more. And complexity is a big issue. I 100% agree with you. Anything else, guys? So
I can try to make a comment on this. Security has always had challenges, I think, since the beginning, and the hot topics are changing within time, in my opinion, and based on my observations. And nowadays, the most focused challenge started to be, I think, embedding it with our automation processes in the software development lifecycle. So we see that, we observe that DevOps teams in the organizations are getting more mature as time goes. However, security is considered as a separate entity still within the organization. So the flow between these two teams seem to be a little bit reactive or separate from each other. So that's why we started to pronounce more the term called DevSecOps more often than before. And this is aiming to make DevOps engineers and DevSecOps engineers to collaborate with each other in a proactive way with some predefined policies, etc. So I think in the following midterm time, we will try to overcome this issue.
So with that, you know, there is, Alex, you have mentioned about speed, fast, and man, it is important, I agree, but should it always be speed or safety? I mean, one or the other, should it be fast or safe? Can't we have them at the same time, my friends?
Yeah, so actually that is the situation that is going on right now. You know, unfortunately, most companies have to decide either I do develop fast and ignore the security aspect, or I develop slow and put a lot of security into my applications. And that is a terrible situation, because any of the two circumstances, you will lose in the long term. But it is possible, no? And I think that there are three main aspects that we have to understand to be able to achieve the developing faster and developing safer. Yeah. The first part is the automation. Yeah. You need to be able to automate your security processes in order for you to be able to allow a safer development or develop a safer application. However, if you automate, yes, you need to have very key aspects of, or have three very important points. One is you have to be able to identify all of the components that make your software. And you have to be able to identify those components in a very precise way. Yeah. If you, so that's one aspect. The second aspect is you need to have a huge or know all the vulnerabilities that are within that application or that environment. So if you do not have a precise identification, and if you have you don't have a precise or a big enough database of vulnerabilities, you will not be able to automate correctly, and you will have a lot of false positives and false negatives within your application. The second point, to be able to have a faster and safer development, is to understand that the developers are actually the first line of defense. Yes, they are your first line of security. And that is a concept that many organizations do not understand. And it's a famous shift left. You put security the earlier you are within your development process. And if you're able to put security within the developer's mindset and within the tools that your developers use, they will be able to provide you a much safer application without impacting on the time of delivery. Yeah. And the final part is you have to understand that software, or most of the software, is not being coded nowadays. It is being assembled. Yeah. So you get components or libraries from different sources, from the different open source ecosystems. You put them together and you build an application. Yes. So just as you manufacture a car, just as you manufacture other assets or products in the world, software is the same. You have to evaluate and understand from where those open source components are coming from. You have to understand the quality of those open source components, which are the building blocks of your application. So if you're able to control these three aspects, you can effectively build a safer application and faster applications at the same time. Yeah.
Exactly. Open source is very critical, and but we have to get the control, right? I mean, can we track the OSS components? Can we trust all the open source libraries? Do the open source libraries align with my security standards, or do we accept all types of open source licenses? Man, I mean, we have so many questions over there. Is there a way to answer them?
Yeah, so managing this governance of the open source is really, really hard and complicated, if you do not have the right tooling in place. So, for example, some things that Sonatype allows you to do, is to precisely manage all of the vulnerabilities of the open source components that create an application. And bear in mind that 80 to 90% of any application that has been developed today is open source libraries. It's not components that are being done. And when I talk about vulnerabilities, there are different aspects of vulnerabilities, because many people associate it to security vulnerabilities, which are very, very important, obviously. But then, as you mentioned, there are licensing vulnerabilities. Many open source projects have a license called AGPL, which makes you give your development to the open source community. So if you're a bank developing an application, you do not want to give to the open source community the application you built. So there's also a licensing vulnerability. So there are different aspects of licensing and using the open source that we have to take into consideration, and only with proper tools will you be able to accelerate both the development, but at the same time have a correct governance of the open source components that conform the biggest part of your application.
Exactly. We need to have that, because you know, open source is 80% of our code base these days, and it is even growing more and more every day, right? So, but again, it is what we are trying to do is we are trying to embed security in the early stages of software development, guys. I mean, so DevOps teams, they are maturing. They are really maturing and implementing CI/CD, and they require continuous security. So where are we with that? I mean, what do you think? Is the AppSec industry ready to provide continuous security today to the development environments? What do you think?
Well, I would like to make comment on this as well. First of all, this approach is still in progress and will be more mature within time, but the continuous security will become an important element in the automation part of the process and in the software development lifecycle process, because as we know, the DevOps teams are using necessary tools such as CI/CD pipeline tools, and they are able to develop their codes in an agile way, and they can update them very frequently. But on the other side, this is not true for the security side. So with the right tools given by the DevSecOps people, this can be merged and predefined. So it is very important to agree before releasing your new software, and DevSecOps teams should be able to manage those in the same part of the automated environment. So in that part, maybe very briefly I can mention about some products names that we are encouraging our customers to use. With the Nginx App Protect product, we are aiming web application firewall solutions to be part of their CI/CD pipeline tools, and the DevOps people can easily manage them with by using declarative APIs, REST APIs, and they can define the policies before releasing the software, and in that way it would be possible to sustain continuous security as part of their software development lifecycle. So we are approaching with Nginx solutions security as a code approach. So this is the one thing which will have more contribution to combine DevSecOps teams with the DevOps engineers.
Perfect. Vedat, I know that you are investing a lot in that area, not only application security, but both sides of the life cycle. How are you adding value to continuous security?
Yeah, Gökhan, thank you very much. On the cloud security, there are different components, and in Palo Alto Networks, we have seen in the network security as well, the main challenges was about too many tools, really not integrated well. And in Palo Alto Networks, our vision is to, since we are new in this journey in the public cloud or private cloud, so our company decided to really invest in that area to provide the most integrated and unique cloud solutions, and container is one of them, of course. And so that's why we acquired the best of breed companies in that space. So if we can name Evident, Redlock on the vulnerability and compliance governance side as well. And then we had Twistlock on the container security side. And then we had this Aperito acquisition last year to provide these micro-segmentation identity bases, and on the serverless security, PureSec. So the main idea from our side is to provide a unique solution, a simple solution, scalable solution that the customers can use at every phases on even at different applications on a single screen they can use. And when we see those integration is ready, and also we see our customers are really started using them. So this was very key, and that's why we're excited to be in that new security segment, in this application security, in this cloud security. So we call them Prisma cloud security solution. And the main idea is to provide a fully integrated solution, not to repeat the same mistakes maybe in the networking environment, provide a better integrated solution. And of course, container security is the most interested part. And since the customers are developing their apps based on containers because of the reason that we counted. And so the security part was very critical. And when they see the security between the containers, and that's not specifically only the host security, container security, with the whole integration of the Prisma Cloud story, we are able to provide that security to the customers on different verticals.
That is highly important. Yes, we are trying to solve the problems on the left, but you know, Gartner says perfect is the enemy of good. So you can't solve all the problems on the left. You can't find all vulnerabilities or cover all the vulnerabilities. You can't lose that much time to eliminate them all. So it comes to also the production. Proactive and preventive security, I call it. It is great. I wish that was enough, but responsive security, if you call it left shifted security and right shifted security, I see that we must have the right mix. The development, the software, the application is going to be in production, and unfortunately it is going to be attacked. Really, how can we find the right mix, my friend?
For sure, we need both, but I think more important is maybe to name it to go deep or more embedded into the design, like you mentioned in the beginning. So first of all, it's very important to provide a hygiene environment, security hygiene. So you must not allow a vulnerable or already known malware to jump into the CI/CD pipeline, for sure. But I think the more important piece is, especially when you go to the runtime side, because we know that it's not possible to code something very secure with millions of lines of code. So we need the preventative or proactive piece as well. That's where the challenge is actually to me. So for example, Fortinet is like investing in this area a lot for more than 10 years. We have a very advanced deep learning mechanism that's being used for more than 10 years in the cloud, like the big data solution. And 2 or 3 years ago, the company shifted its vision to, I call it the federated AI. So we have the big data, the big AI intelligence, threat intelligence in the cloud, but then we have on-premise machine learning capabilities and even sometimes deep learning capabilities on the products themselves, like WAF, for example, Web Application Firewall. It has like more than 2 years old now, the machine learning technology. Why do you need it? Because the applications are changing very dynamically, especially with the container and microservices approaches, as we know. So you need to adapt it. So you need to adapt yourself. You need to continuously adapt to the changes in the application in the background, in the CI/CD pipeline. So that's very important. So we saw the biggest problem of the WAF implementation actually this way. It's almost like a set and forget sort of WAF solution, we can name it. But more importantly, then you need another layer. So you build a statistical model with machine learning, you adapt to the changes on the application, but threats are also moving, changing all the time. So we have a second layer of machine learning for the WAF product, for example, that has all our experience, more than 20 years of experience in the threat modeling in the FortiGuard labs. So all the results, all the outcome of the statistical machine learning model are then re-evaluated in the second layer to minimize the false positives and also prevent all the possible or derivations of the attacks themselves. So this is very important. Also, as we go along, this environment means the APIs are very critical now. So especially with the mobile usage and all the microservice to microservice traffic, everything is going through the APIs. So API protection is especially critical now. So we have this API gateway functionality as well in the same WAF product we have. So that means you can securely allow API communications between services or ingress or egress traffic, whatever you want. So that's very critical. The other thing is the bot scenario. We recently have many requests from our customers that the bots are a very big problem. They consume the resources, they steal your data, so you want to prevent it as well. We also have the machine learning capability for the bot protection as well in the WAF. So it's like 13 different capabilities that you can apply to identify bots from the legitimate users. It goes to biometric scans, it goes to deception technologies, very advanced story. So we provide API bots and OWASP Top 10 WAF protection backed up with machine learning on this product. And also things are changing through the APIs. Probably we will see the use cases of files being uploaded to the services from either from other services or from the end users, the consumers. So that means it's a new threat vector to embed zero-day threats, malware, ransomware, whatever you call it. It's a new threat vector for us. So that in that case, our WAF project can integrate with our sandbox, either on the cloud or on your premises. So that means you have the possibility to prevent an unknown threat or a new discovered threat, zero-day threat as well during the file upload to the web services. So this combination is really very important to apply protection against the unknown parts. So we need to prevent against what we don't know yet. So this is very important in my opinion.
Exactly. You know, it is very important, especially with what you said regarding WAFman. It was interesting because I haven't seen any companies having no problem with their WAF solution to integrate it to their SDLC AI, and that is easing that pain. Most probably it is very important. But what I hear, you guys are attacking the complexity problem. You are all doing that. You all say that get the control. It can be a new infrastructure, whatever it is. It can be cloud, it can be virtual, it can be container, whatever. You all guys say that get the control of human, of technology, of infrastructures, get integrated. Not only shift left, also shift right. They call it shift everywhere these days, by the way. We were talking about shift left, but that is even dead. It is shift everywhere because we need security where it is needed, right? Right or left, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And do it everywhere. And of course, make a great team. I hear you, and I want to learn from you. What is next, guys? What is the evolution of secure coding? Where do you see the AppSec industry in the next 5 to 10 years?
Actually, I think as security vendors, we somehow managed to do this dream. So we have to be fast and secure, right? Fast and safe to provide security in the first place. But I think that's because maybe today almost no organization has a 100% code coverage, even for functional testing. That's the reality, just for speed. And their focus is just to go to the market. But security, on the other hand, requires a different set of testing. You need to test for the unexpected and unknowns. So that requires a shift in the mindset of the developer side as well, but also on the security side, like discussed in the beginning. So I think that will be the biggest challenge, but if this can be solved somehow, as we dreamed of, then yeah, this dream might come true in the future with the help of the machines, along with the security experts, of course.
Let's hope so, my friend. That's important.
For next 5 years or coming years, so of course everything will evolve. But first of all, I believe in 1 or 2 years, people will start really consuming those app security, and the integration between the people as well, between development and between the security team, will be just merging, and then they will be embracing those technologies. And when they see the security integrated in their CI/CD pipeline, shifting left or, as you said, right, everywhere. So the security will be the main part of all this pipeline, all this process. And of course, that will give them more speed and agility as they were asking, demanding for. But these solutions should be really covering all the aspects about, as we discussed before, not only about the container security, just not about the application security, but also the full application lifecycle security, including the vulnerabilities, including the data security, including maybe the micro segmentation, identity-based. We are now starting talking about it, or also the access control. Everything should be embedded and then should be managed centrally.
I 100% agree with you, my friend. You know, I believe security will be important that day when we don't need to put sec within dev and ops, because it is part of the definition of quality. Like all the tests, it is part of the SDLC. The secure software, we don't have to say that. We only say software. Then by design, it has to be secure. It is like, you know, one of the futurists says, you know, do you say digital camera? Yeah, it means you are old, man, because no young guy is saying digital camera. They say camera, right? They haven't seen any analog camera. So let's hope to see the days where we don't have to put sec in their SecOps. It is DevOps and secure by design.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you very much for your time. It was great to talk to you. I learned a lot from you. I hope we will come together soon once again. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.